Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talia Talks, a quarantined affair. Today, I have a really special episode. This one that is dear to my heart, something that I'm passionate about, and it's part of a 3-part series. It's going to be all about fashion. This particular episode is going to be discussing the past of fashion, sustainability, and I'll be talking to some individuals who have some really cool stuff going on in the fashion world. So I'm gonna go ahead and allow each of you guys to tell the audience a little bit about yourself. You can give a quick intro for now, in no particular order.
All right, guys. My name is Brenton. You can call me Brent for short. I'm 19 years old. I am an entrepreneur, owner, vintage reseller, and Palmersvintage, and my own clothing brand Indifference as well. And to tell you guys a little bit about how I got started, I honestly, I used to take trips to the thrift store a lot with my mom, and she really explained how important it was to just care about what it is that we're putting into the environment and things of that nature. And I always wanted to wear things that not everyone was really wearing that was close to me. Everyone was getting stuff from the mall, but I didn't have a job. Unfortunately, my parents weren't able to get me like everything that I wanted. So I would always hit the thrift store and find something cool and wear it. So that kind of grew and stemmed as I got older, got more into it, got more into vintage and how there's so much research about it, and I now consider it as wearable art now. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I got my start. And yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Tega Akinola, and I guess I would describe myself as a bit of just a creative in general. Don't know if I'm qualified to be a designer yet, but actually I'm a student in sports psychology, so it's very different from what I do on the side and on my Instagram. But how I got started in that upcycling and stuff was, well, from a young age. Like, my mum is a seamstress, and so she designs and makes clothes for people, and she would always encourage me to, take what I already have and try and jazz it up a bit and make it new. So like things like sewing sequins onto like the hem of my jeans and little things like that. I think that's really the foundation of where my interest in that area has come from. Right now, I just like post what I create and what I upcycle on Instagram, and it seems to be going well so far. That's me.
Okay, my name is Teddy Hawkins. I'm 24 years old. I grew up in Tyler, Texas. Now I currently live in Houston. I'm in my second year of law school, so I'm studying to be an attorney. I've been thrifting for a very long time, well, most of my life. But I've been running my business for about 4 years. Started thrifting with my grandmother. Like, I've always been into fashion, but I think that maybe my sophomore year in college, I remember I found a jersey. I found a jersey, and a lot of my friends wanted to buy it from me, but I wouldn't sell it. And then maybe the next year I found a shirt that was too big for me that I really liked, but I couldn't fit. So I decided to give it to one of my fraternity brothers. But I decided that I was too broke at the time to be just giving people gifts. So that kind of sparked the idea to start selling clothes. And I decided to make the Instagram page and just was consistent with it. And over time it grew. So that's how I got started.
So you all touched on a little bit about your journey to how you got there in particular. And I found all of you guys by like my own search, and like you all have like a particular style. Like, not only do you put out content and items that are super unique, but the things that you wear personally are super dope too. So growing up, where would you say that your fashion inspiration came from?
I guess I go. I would say that definitely came from my sister. She's today's her birthday actually. She's turned 26 today, but yeah, we have a big age difference. But Definitely her because when she was in middle school, when I was like in elementary, I believe, she would always care about the latest Jordan release, all the sneaker releases, and she would always get fly before she went to school. You know, she would always care about whether or not something looks good together. Um, she would care about the colors. She would care about the shirt she's wearing. She would care about everything, and she would always know that, like, whenever she go to school, she gotta step. So uh, that's what kind of got me into it and kind of got me to care a little bit more about what I was wearing every day. So just from there, I kind of just developed my own style, and even today, I always ask her things, but she's asking me now, so it kind of feels good. But yeah, I definitely say my sister was a big part of that, and I give her credit for that for the rest of my life, actually. So
That's sweet.
For me, I feel like growing up, I didn't really have like sense of like fashion inspiration, like style sort of terms, because like didn't have any money. So it wasn't until I was like 16 when I started working and actually could get money to buy stuff. That's when I started to look at different areas of like fashion. So well, there's a lot of different areas. I think we'll go into that later. But I think that's how like, my fashion inspiration came about.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of just was watching the people around me and all the things that you come in contact with that kind of influence you in a way. So I was just kind of picking and choosing my favorite things from everything that I was seeing from everyone, you know.
Yeah, that's like super important because I feel like fashion is definitely like an outward expression of creativity, like on your body, but also like what influences you and like what you see. So it's definitely a combination of a lot of different things. Some of you guys are entrepreneurs and all of you guys are students. So I know the road to doing what you do, doing what you love and doing what you need to do is not easy. So what obstacles, if any, would you guys say that you've had to overcome thus far in your life?
um, I would say the biggest one so far um, probably has been starting something, because I think that's the area of any project or any like school project or anything that you want to do, whether it's entrepreneurial or whether it's just for fun. It's always the point of starting something that is very, very hard. For me, I experienced that first when I started doing mock-ups for my brand back in my junior year of high school, which was about, I'd say, like 2 3 years ago. It was really hard on me because I didn't know in which direction I wanted to go. I was just really struggling, and I just put a lot of pressure on myself because I really just like to do things in the correct way, and uh, when I have ideas, I want to convey them in the correct way. I don't want people to just kind of get the wrong idea about things. So it just kind of made me overthink sometimes. But it took me a while to know that it was okay, for me being able to struggle and to start. So it was that, and also it came with vintage as well. Because whenever I used to thrift, I used to pick up everything. I used to pick up everything, thinking that I'm able to sell everything, and that I'm able to style everything in the correct way, and it just didn't go that way. And it was so tough for me to realize that there's a really big trial and error period as well. So I'd say that is one of the biggest obstacles I say I'd have to overcome, and also time management for me. Even now, it's I'm not the best at it, and I'm still improving it. Even with when you're in school and you have to keep track of due dates, you have to keep track of just whenever you have to do things for school and you have to attend to it, you have to make time for it. And when you're running a business, when you're running up and down all the time, it can kind of get tough because it kind of separates, like you said, from what you want to do and what you got to do. So just kind of finding that balance is something I'm still doing. That's a little obstacle, but I'll get over the hump soon.
Well, personally, I feel like other people can relate to this as well, is having a sense of imposter syndrome. So, because I don't study fashion or anything like that, I think like, oh, am I really qualified in a sense to be doing this, and are people going to take my work seriously or like my opinion seriously? So that's like the obstacles I've had to overcome. The other, like Brenton touched on, is just like starting something. Like I have like a fear of failure or a fear of success that will actually go right. So when I do procrastinate a lot, so starting something is really hard for me, but I try to like live by the slogan, just do it, obviously by Nike. So, I mean, you can be scared, you can be nervous, but you should just do it anyway and see how it goes.
I think that I'm very hard on myself. I want to do well. And sometimes that kind of takes the fun out of the process because you're so concerned with what other people are thinking sometimes and how things are going to turn out. So a lot of times I find myself just overthinking situations. But I do really agree with Brent, man. Like with vintage, it's a learning process, and it's always something new that you can learn. Not new, like you can research and find out. And the thing is, like, the more you learn, the better you're gonna be. You're gonna be at your craft, and it's gonna allow you to make more money. Because I was just like, man, like for a second, I was just buying everything that I liked, everything that looked cool to me, but that's not everything that's gonna sell. And I started to realize that once I stepped outside of my own style and started getting into things that I wasn't even really interested in, it was going to expand my customer base, because just because I love sports, there are people who are into movies, TV, music, rock, So I think that a big thing for me was just actually stepping outside of myself and not being so concerned with what bothered me or what I thought about certain things, and trying to learn more and just please people, please my customer base without being concerned about if it was good enough for people, like pleasing people without trying to live up to other people's standards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I think that those are all really sound things. And I think you guys dropped some gems as far as advice goes on just starting and moving forward. And, if you want to do something, there's, if you want to do something, do it. Just make sure you do your research and, put in the work, I think is the biggest takeaway I got from all of your answers. Is definitely just putting in work and doing what you love and focusing on that. For my entrepreneurs, I know Brent as well as Teddy, you guys both have your own stores now. You have your own brand that you're selling things from. So what is it like? What was it like transitioning from the consumer as far as vintage shopping goes and thrifting and stuff to being the owner of a business? Because that's definitely a different lens to look from as far as looking at clothes and fashion.
I definitely say for me it's probably a bit different because I am not an owner of a brick and mortar store like Teddy is. But
I'm just everything is online, right? Everything is online for me. I just I set up shops, like pop-up shops all over the place. But currently, I'm still in law school, so everything is e-commerce as well.
okay, my bad then. I'm tripping. But for me, I would say definitely my first job was at Journeys. That was my first job. I believe I got it when I was 16. It was my junior year.
I'm just gonna put a thumbs down to retail, just real quick.
No, I don't think you should denounce it. It taught me a lot, it taught me a lot. But yeah, when I was working there, it just opened up a new way of seeing things for me because I would see things um kind of from someone that's working in a store. You see like the patterns in which that all the customers are going and like what people are picking up the most, what people are saying about the product, how many or like how much money people are willing to pay for something, or it's just how people work. Technically, that's how I learned. Um, it's just how like people like to shop in a way, and how people perceive things and how it's presented to them. And I knew that um, that was really important, and I probably would need it for the future. So speaking from my experience now, owning a business, everything's e-commerce as well, but it just kind of forces you, like if you want to have a really successful business and you just want people to really just resonate with you. Um, Authenticity is a big part of it, as well as just putting yourself in the customer's shoes more than you have to put yourself in the shoes of a business owner, because those people that are the consumer that are buying things from you, they are the ones that are keeping your business running at the end of the day. So it's just you just like now, like I just see things from their eye. You know, when I go thrifting or when I go buy things that I want to put in the store, I always think first, like, how would I want this to be presented to me if I was the customer, or if I was somebody wanting to wear this shirt, how would I want to wear it? You know, it's just things of that nature is just really important, and that's kind of the learning curve that I've had to have now, that I'm kind of going through now. So it's really important, and it's really big for me, and it's a really big learning curve. But yeah, I'm still learning. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I think that I'm still considering myself a customer. You know, it's just like a act of going back and forth. But being a business owner has made me a more considerate customer. I kind of think about things from because I've been on the other side of it, so I know what it's like to set up a shop and have people like not close down the hangers and not pick them up or something. You know, just simple things like that. So when you realize like the work that's put into someone's business, you appreciate things more. You know, but then on the other hand of it, like since I've been a customer, I I guess I just it brings things full circle for me, you know, and I'm more aware of everything when I'm shopping or when I'm trying to sell something to people.
Tega, I know you have like you're starting a lot of your content that you're putting out now as far as working with conventional materials, is you developing your own brand. So did you want to touch on like what it's like starting like to develop your own brand as far as your creative, like, I don't want to say outlet, I don't really like that word, but new creative, just new creative content that you're putting out?
Yeah, so you're right. Like working towards developing my own brand, and at times it's like difficult because when you're a small business, you're basically doing everything by yourself. So like with logistics and stuff, it can get really mundane and boring. And I've always had this like stick about when something turns into a job, it can really take the fun out of it sometimes, and that has happened on occasions. But I think for me, it's just remembering like why I do it and really what I want to achieve out of it, and just trying to find different ways and like how I can create different things, etc., to still keep that creativity and that passion going. Yeah, and to touch on what the other two said, I've worked in retail as well for 4 years, and that was the worst 4 years of my life. And
Exactly.
You really get an appreciation for businesses and like a sort of hate for customers in a way, but you do see things from both different points of views, and you can apply that to your own thing. So I think that's also helped me going forward.
Yeah, I feel that on the retail. I've worked, I think, maybe like 8 years total retail, like different stores. I just always find my way back to clothes. Like I would like go and look for an office job, and I'm like, okay, but I could work here, and I don't even end up buying the clothes because once I started thrifting, I was like, it's too much money. But as far as like fashion trends go, and when I think about like thrifting and buying vintage clothing, a lot of things. One of the things that people like about it is the fact that you can find a particular item from a particular era and incorporate that into your style, because trends always come back. Always. Like I have on a choker right now. Like I think that's from like the 70s or 80s. But is there a particular fashion era or fashion trend that really resonates with you, and why?
I would say this past decade, I would say like the 2010s. Not because of the specific like things people were wearing during this decade, because I think it's definitely not the best decade for that. But I just think it resonates with me so much because this decade was the decade that I really got into what it was that I was wearing, and really looking at what people were, putting out into the world as far as fashion goes. Um, it was just like this decade has like it, and it this decade was like the birth of like, or like the merging of like luxury and streetwear coming together too. So now you see like brands like Off-White, they're doing crazy stuff in terms of like streetwear, it's just a lot of different luxury brands are really like looking towards just growing and not staying stagnant in which, the position that they were um 2 decades ago, which was it was just a lot of focus on the material in which they were using, the quality of the product, and that's why um, the price points were so high. They're still high, but they kind of cater to our generation a little bit more, like my generation, the younger generation. They kind of cater to us a little bit more, and that's why the percentage of people that are my age, like around like I say 15 to 24, are getting into more of the luxury side of things because of the merge of luxury and streetwear this past decade. And this is the decade that I got into clothes overall. Like I remember going to Paxson all the time, wanting that one intro shirt, and it was just me just wanting just dumb, like, streetwear brands that they used to put in Zoomies and Paxson all the time. I just wanted it because everyone was wearing it, and that's what got me into it. So I would say this past decade, the 2010s, was what really resonates with me, and what has really kind of built the foundation for what it is that I do today. So the 90s, I would say, is the best era for style overall, but I'm still learning, of course, about every year, not only just the decade, but as I grow and as I collect these vintage pieces, I'm still learning. So I can't really say it resonates with me very, very much as the last decade was, because I didn't grow up in it. So that's what I would say.
Nice.
I pretty much agree with everything Brenton said. Like this decade for fashion and design in general, I think it's really cool. And the direction it's going in, I really like the merging of streetwear and luxury, and looking towards perhaps like younger designers and people you wouldn't necessarily see in those positions. So I really love that. But in terms of personal style, yeah, the 90s, like the early 2000s for me, like a lot of my favorite sitcoms, like the Fresh Prince, A Boy Meets World, Saved by the Bell, all these things. I love like the style and the outfits they have on the show. But yeah, like I didn't grow up in it, so it's like it's a bit, touch and go. But for personal style, the 90s.
Okay, so like I follow current fashion very closely, but I'm very 90s influenced. So like I love big t-shirts, older sports, like when it comes to shoes, like Jordan had the 90s on lock, you know. So I think that a lot of the pieces are coming from the 90s, and then I'm kind of blending the current fashion trends in with those type of pieces. So just like everybody else, like the 90s, but still in tune with what's going on right now.
Yeah, I definitely like agree. The 90s is just like, it's just like you can't really go wrong like with the 90s. I definitely think like now I'm like dabbling. Oh, I'm like inserting myself, but like I'm just going to why now I like definitely dabble into like Y2K accessories, like the small purses and like the colorful sunglasses, like the style of the 2000s. I don't necessarily like, I don't know, like the early 2000s, like if you watch television, like what they had those Disney Channel girls in, like it just, I don't know what it was. Like, why are they wearing two tank tops? But like the accessories from the early 2000s, I'm really into. And then like I feel like the 60s and 70s are like now I'm kind of more learning about personally. That brings a great point to, so when it comes to like just thrifting and vintage fashion and upcycling, all the things that we're talking about, they all tie into the really important thing, which I want to talk about today, and that's sustainability. Basically sustaining what we have, working with what you have. I have a quote here that I really like. It is looking after what we have and thinking about what already exists in the world and how we can use that. And each of you guys are finding your own way in which you do that, and basically impacting the environment in a positive way, because climate change is something that's real and it's happening. And fast fashion contributes a lot to that as far as these big manufacturers go. And the waste that 80% of waste is from fashion, is from clothes in the world right now. So all of the things like thrifting and reselling help combat that. So what does sustainability mean to you guys, and how are you or your company making an impact to combat the negative impacts of fast fashion today?
I think I would say that sustainability for me, it's really big on me because my mom grew me up to always use everything, always use everything to its full potential and do not let it go to waste. I was fortunate enough to grow up here, but my parents, they're from Jamaica, and that's where they learned uh, the aspect of really using everything to its full potential, because you have put in the work, your hard-earned money, whatever the case may be, to get a grasp at these products or whatever it is you're working with. So to just kind of get things and then throw them away, it's not something that I stand for and that I stand by. If you don't have use for it, someone else might. You know what I mean? There's always going to be someone else. And to kind of connect that to what I do, um, every piece that I sell is I feel like it's a knock. Um, it's a knock towards getting these fast fashion companies out of the way, because I don't stand for it at all. They severely underpay their workers, and it's just really big now. So a lot of people are just kind of pushing it out of the way, because that's because they use cheap materials, so therefore everything there is cheap. So you can go to the Forever 21, or you can go on Pretty Lady Thing, or you can go on any of these websites these days and get something for really really cheap that you can wear next day, but you're gonna throw it out the second day. So every sale that I make, because I know all of it is thrifted clothing, all of it is used clothing. I just feel like it's a knock towards them, and it's a knock, and it's a point for sustainability, because when you buy used clothing, when you buy into, when you shop small, you're helping out, not only helping me out, but you're helping the environment as well. And currently I'm working towards developing sustainable packaging, or sustainable packaging, everything sustainable, about what I send to you guys, what I put out in the world, what I advertise. Just trying to connect it all to sustainability as well. That's what I'm working towards right now. So for everyone that I interact with, and for everyone that buys from me, or supports me, or reposts my stuff and anything like that, just know that you guys are also knocking on that sustainability door as well. So I appreciate all the support, and yeah.
Um, for me, I think sustainability is, well, now it's more important than ever, as there's those talks about climate change and we need to act now, things like that. And personally, in like the sort of fashion side of it, I love how like buying secondhand clothes and used stuff is not seen as like in a negative way anymore. It's now a positive thing. So I love that there's been like an uprise of that, and I think everyone can do at least something towards supporting sustainability. I mean, you might not be like a big company that can actually like make influential significant change, but everyone can play their part, at least, even if it's at least just a conscience like quenching thing. You can do something. And as for me, is what I do, I think even out of necessity, the things I get are always secondhand. So they're always from Depop or eBay and stuff like that. So I'm trying not to contribute even more waste to the environment. And I don't think it's really a hard thing to do if you're in a position to do it. It's something that you can consciously work towards doing.
Definitely.
Okay, so I think that something that was big for me when I started selling vintage was the fact that I understand that when you have a clothing brand, you're kind of always trying to keep up with what's in style, and it's constantly changing, you know. But with vintage fashion, it's going to stay the same no matter what. And when you're creative and you're using vintage pieces, upcycling like that doesn't change, you know. So it feels good to know that to the problem, but also honestly, like I've always known about, you know, reuse, reduce, recycle. Like you learn that at a very young age, but maybe it wasn't until maybe 5 years ago that I understood that I made the connection between sustainability and fashion, what I was doing, you know. I think that now that people are becoming more conscious and more aware, that it's almost like a positive trend that's going on in the world, you know. And I think that the best power that we can have as entrepreneurs and just influential youth is just making something cool, making something that's good, cool, you know. So I just enjoy the fact that I can do something that I love, something that's cool, and improve my environment, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys are all in the sustainability space, whether you meant to do it or not. And it's something that has been growing rapidly. Why do you guys think that is? That that people are leaning more towards buying used items, reselling used items, and upcycling things that they've had maybe in their closet for a long time?
I think the first thing is a lot of people that are in a position of power are really endorsing the topic of sustainability as well. Um, I probably can't name any names, but I do know that there's a ton of people that are influencers on Instagram or people that are in a position of power, whether it's political office or whether it's just people that have a really big following. A lot of them really push sustainability a lot. So I think that has been a really big area of impact for our generation because we're on our phones all the time. We're on our phones all the time. We're always doing something, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, or shopping online. And you're always going to see the word or phrase sustainability. You know what I mean? You're always going to see it. Maybe not the meaning, but you're always going to see it. And just the fact that you see it so many times is going to make people look into it like, what is this and why is it so important? And I believe that that has been a severe factor in it, and why like the whole resale, vintage resale has grown, and it's going to continue to grow. And not only has that grown, but just resale in general, because these materials that we are using, that we are selling, a lot of it is sustainable, and we just have to keep it in the world, and we just have to, you know, as long as we keep changing hands with it, you know, once you're done with it, give it to someone that really wants it. Um, it's just a really simple, uh, it's just a really simple, what's the word? Really simple thing to stand by, and really simple to work towards, and really simple to contribute to. So I think the simplicity of it is very, very important for people like us, because a lot of people that are my age or younger, their attention span is very, very short. And if you tell people, you know, all you got to do to support sustainability is recycle and don't throw away your old clothes, they're like, okay, cool. You know, I can stand by that. You know, and so I just think it's the simplicity of it. You know, the fact that it's so easy to contribute to it, and also the fact that people are just realizing that they can really make a ton of money from what's in here. Like this right here is my closet, but people can make you can make money from what's in your closet. You know, not everything is a piece of garbage. Everything has been sold before. Everything that's in the thrift store has been sold to the consumer before. So you just have to go in it with the intent or with the mindset of, you know, I think somebody else will like this as well. So I think that's why it's grown exponentially and it's going to continue to grow because it's just real simple to support, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, I think our generation is also a bit more like socially conscious and aware of like how our actions affect the other people. And I think the big companies are really sort of like listening to their consumers. I mean, even if it's just to still keep them as consumers, they're still like listening to them and seeing that they want sustainability to be a big factor of like their processes and how they work. So I think that's one factor. Alternatively, I also think that, we all know that fashion trends recycle and everything like that. And I think people are looking to get like authentic pieces, but now that sustainability and resale is like so big now, it's a lot easier to access those things like Depop and things like that, especially if you're not in a city where you've got like thrift stores and everything. The rise of these apps are really pushing forward that notion of like you can buy something secondhand and you can get it easily. I think that's my opinion on that.
I do think that like as we educate ourselves, people are becoming more involved in sustainability, and even with issues like police brutality, racism, like you see as people educate ourselves or themselves, this stuff comes to light and everybody gets involved. I do agree that social media gives us more access to it. I think that, man, when I made my Instagram page 4 years ago, I felt like it was hard to find similar businesses to follow, so I can kind of look to see how they were doing things. And now, man, everybody has, like, we're in the age of entrepreneurship where everybody is reselling something, So I think that people have more access and it's becoming more common as well. To touch on what Brenton was talking about, like you do see, I know you're kind of having problems like trying to just think of people in the name, but like SZA, like she's big on sustainability, and then you got those huge resellers like Sean Witherspoon who like build empires on this. Like round two, they have huge vintage stores in every I think it's like 10 major cities in the U.S. So I think this stuff is over time because it's relevant because it's becoming a clear necessity because of global warming, but also people are more educated and we have more access to it because of social media.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You guys bring up social media, which brings me to my next question. If you feel that there are like specific ways that technology, whether that be via social media or apps like Depop, what influence do you think they've had directly on like the resale industry?
I think directly they have a big because as I said before, everyone that's young, or honestly, just everyone these days are on their phones. And most of the time, it's not only because we want to, but it's because, we have to. Because a lot of people, now that, COVID-19 has risen and these cases are rising, everyone is having to use a piece of technology to get to work or to, make their money to support their family. So it's just the easy access that apps like Depop that I currently sell on, that they have that reach, not only to everybody, but the younger generation as well. That's why it's been so big, and that's why it's just so easy for everyone or for apps like that to reach people. So and when people get on apps such as Depop or Instagram and they see ideas of this nature, um, or it starts the cycle of curiosity for people. I know for me, when I started going to apps like this and I started hearing about sustainability, I always knew about it, but I looked more into it the more that I kept seeing it. because at that point I just knew it was very important if I kept seeing it. So and I think a lot of people are getting the same idea as well, because it's just really important. And I believe that everyone that has a social media platform, including myself, is using their platforms hopefully to shine light on these issues and to just really get into it, get nitty and gritty with it, because it's important. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, as I touched on earlier, like the rise of these kind of apps have really pushed forward the movement, and I think they really kind of like found a niche with the younger generation where they're really focused on like reselling and vintage and stuff like that. Because I don't know about you guys, but eBay and stuff like that wasn't seen as cool, or like you can't buy off eBay. So now that apps like Depop and Vinted and and the like have come up, it's really targeted people like us, our generation, if you're actually looking to be more sustainable. And yeah, and I love that.
Shout out to Instagram first, because like definitely like just build my business via Instagram. It makes it so easy, because if somebody follows you, it's literally no work for you to pop up on their timeline. Like they don't have to do anything. If you post something, then anybody who's following you is going to see it. So it takes, if you can just get people tuned into what you're doing, you can build an audience. Then what you're putting in front of them is they're gonna see it no matter what, because they're already on their phones scrolling down their timeline. So I just think that the social media apps and other platforms just make it, they're the perfect middleman for advertisement and putting what you want to put out in front of everybody.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the ways that it's changing and growing in these types of industries, because I feel like as far as like with this whole pandemic, as far as like going to the store and buying, like people are doing that less and less. Amazon right now is like crazy, like the amount of money that, like Jeff Bezos, I think that's his name, Jeff Bezos, like the man, he's solid. He's solid. And unfortunately in my household, like we have a problem with Amazon, but like the way that he's basically, structured his business and gets his stuff to consumers is like, yeah, technology definitely growing. And I think that as far as incorporating like technology was just something that's so like new and current with like vintage and thrifting and all that stuff. It's very unique. It's very, it's not, my grandmother wouldn't be able to relate to that basically. So I'm trying to say, as far as being a creative in the fashion industry, is there anything that you feel is lacking from today's major retailers and designers? And one thing that I'll say is I found a quote when I was doing research for this talk. And basically what they said, they touched on the fact that a lot of these major retailers, they steal from local designers, and they steal their ideas and they produce them so fast and put them out so fast that individuals don't get to enjoy the art of the work and just the art itself. Because clothing is art, and when a designer puts their time and their efforts into designing something new, it's their artwork. So major retailers and fast fashion kind of take away from that. So that's one of the things that I personally like not realized, but something that I was learning as I was doing my research. So how do you guys feel about major retailers and designers?
I mind if I go first on this one, because it's on my head. So I had this conversation with a friend last night about like how fast fashion brands, like they steal ideas, and like a lot of smaller businesses, they're really honed in on the quality of their products, and the fast fashion brands, they'll steal the ideas and like blatantly just copy them and then put them out at a lower quality. And it hurts small businesses, and another thing, as a vintage, I'm sure Brent, you can agree to this, man. Selling vintage, man, I hate the fact that they're reprinting and copying all of like the highly sought after items, because then you'll run into customers who really don't. They might not be as deeply into fashion as somebody who has a clothing store, you know, so they don't understand the difference between a single stitch shirt or a double stitch shirt, or, you know, like a like something that was originally created in the 90s or a reprint. So then we have issues like, well, I can get this same shirt for $20 at PacSun or Forever 21, but in reality, that's a cheap reprint that was kind of just, you know. So that's something that I have a problem with the major retailers. But the thing is, they have such a big audience where they can do this type of stuff because it's going to get bought anyway. So all they got to do is put it out, you know. So
Yeah, man, listen, I agree, because this is exactly where I was going to take what I was going to say, because what I think is missing from not only just retailers but from the industry itself is just credit and authenticity sometimes, because credit, for one, is something that is not given enough. I believe that big brands like that like fast fashion brands, it's not only fast fashion brands, but it's some bigger luxury brands as well. And they just kind of they that's how they do it. You know, they have a team, they have a board that sit around the table and they search on Instagram for what's trending. You know, most of the time they look at small businesses and see what's doing well for them, and they just kind of scoop that idea and like, okay, it's working for them, let's do it for us and mass produce it because we have the ability to do so. So um, with them doing that, they obviously don't give credit to, you know, who was doing it first or who originated or who it originated from. That's just what's missing, and I just think that's very wrong. It's very wrong, knowing that people in our position, people like Tega, people like Teddy, people like you, everyone is putting their work into what it is they care about, and there's nothing that, you know, we can do to take it away from them. And but the only thing that is there that will discourage me or anyone else that is doing what I do, or you know, works for themselves and is a small business, is not give credit towards what it is that we do, because sometimes that's all that we need. You know, I don't sometimes, like, it really I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but sometimes it feels better when you get the credit for something that you really put your work into, rather than getting funds for it. You know, money's always good, you know, money, but money comes and goes, comes and it goes. You know, it's really just it's just a figure that, you know, people kind of use to place over certain things like credit or authenticity, but I don't place it over that. Just having a customer telling me like, man, I know how much work goes into setting up this pop-up and doing all this work, tagging all of these t-shirts and pricing all of these things and listing all of these things online. Like, when a customer tells me something like that, I'm willing to give that shirt or whatever it is that's in their hand. You can have it, because I already have what I want, and that's, you know, just credit for what it is that I do. And it feels so good to hear that from certain people and from certain, and just get those results from certain things. So that's what I would say is really missing from what's going on here. That's something that I hope that a lot of big companies look for. And if you're gonna take something from someone, please credit them for it. You know, even if it's just a big company, but even if it's somebody small, a lot of these small Instagram accounts, these art accounts, they scoop stuff from smaller accounts as well. And but they don't give them credit for it because no one's gonna see their work because they got 400 or 500 followers and you got 10K. But still, you know, just keep it authentic, keep it real with people, because it's important. But yeah.
Just before you go really quickly, I just want to say that you reminded me of the Dapper Dan situation where everyone, like, I think that Black people, because we're all Black, so, you know, talking to my Black people now, if you're not Black, I'm not talking to you, but Black people in general have a lot of power, especially as consumers. So I think that it's funny that when Gucci, a huge luxury brand, like, didn't give someone credit, like, Black people were like, wait a minute, what are you doing? And then next thing you know, he was part of their brand. He was working with them as a partnership, when that's kind of what should have been done in the first place. So I think that's like, you definitely make a valid point when you talk about credit and how there's a lack thereof. Take a start. You can go now.
Yeah, that's it. I literally agree with everything that everyone said. That was one of my points I was going to bring up, like stealing from younger designers and smaller businesses, like in fast fashion. But I think for me, I think it hurts even more when like luxury brands do it, who really try to foster like creativity and innovation and things like that. It's like, well, what is your team there for if you're just going to steal from younger designers? Why don't you bring in those smaller businesses into your team and or sort of do some sort of collaboration? Because I think, yeah, that's what I was gonna say on that.
Yeah, I definitely think that as far as fashion goes, I think that there's gatekeepers, and the gatekeepers, they want to make a buck. That's their main concern. So it's definitely unfortunate to see some of the things that we see, whether that be the exploitation of workers, or all the greenhouse gas emissions. So support your local business, support the people that I have on my panel. Oh, we've reached our last question. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna sneak another question in before the last question. So you guys are, yeah, this. They're all looking at me like, what is she gonna ask? No. You guys are all individuals of color or African American or Black. So I feel like that definitely plays a part in fashion. I just feel like it's part of your identity. And like I said, with the whole Dapper Dan situation, I think that a lot of retailers and businesses, with the whole more recent uprising of the Black Lives Movement matter, are looking at us a certain way and are looking at us to see what we want, what we're doing, and like we are the blueprint. So do you guys have anything to say as far as like the different things that I've mentioned and your experiences through that?
I would say that as a Black man growing up in today's society, it's very important to know all the things that you mentioned. Very important. And it's just very, very, very important to just pay attention to what it is these big companies are doing, because sometimes we'll let little things just kind of slip under the radar just because they're bigger companies, you know. Um, and it's just a lot of things recently. It's just been shining light on how a lot of people just like to use things from that originated from our culture, from Black culture, whether it's pop culture, whether it's the clothes that we used to wear, or whether it's our hairstyles that originated from us, from our culture. And it's just sometimes some of those people that really stand for it when it's not really a social justice problem, they're kind of quiet when it turns into that. And that's something that I don't really stand by, because if you're gonna keep the energy beforehand, just because you think it's cool to get into something that we have originated, or that's part of our culture, I would say. Um, I don't think people should be quiet when we come to problems like social justice and injustice and just prejudice towards our people. It's very important. So I would just say that um, just as me growing up and seeing things happen as they're happening currently, I just think it's important for people to just stand with who you stand by through whatever it is. You know, um, we go through things all the time as people and as individuals, but stand by your people. You know what I mean? Just stand by them. It doesn't, the color of your skin does not matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, but when certain things happen, just know where you stand and don't be quiet. You know, uh, that's what I would say is very important. But yeah.
Perhaps on a like more positive note, I really I really love that we're seeing the rise of like Black people in big positions in luxury companies. So you've got like Virgil at Louis Vuitton and Kirby now at Reebok. So I think
love Kirby.
Love that dude, man.
I love his work with Palmersvintage and everything. But I think having that representation is so important, because there's this thing in psychology where it's like self-efficacy is your belief that you can do something. And when you have someone that is a role model you can sort of identify with, that raises your self-efficacy. And having people in these type of positions is important for people of color and Black people, in of course. So I love that we're starting to see more of that, and I obviously want to see more, even more in the future.
I love the thought that people look to us to see what's cool. You know, for a lot of people, Black culture is culture, like what's leading. So I appreciate that people watch the way Black men walk, or like the hairstyles that Black women wear, the way they wear their jewelry. It's very self-empowering, and I mean, it makes me feel good to know that, although that it sucks that everybody looks to us for what's cool, what's fun, but then when we deal with issues, we kind of have to deal with those by ourselves, But it's something to definitely be proud of, man. I know I love my culture, I know it's some white boy that's watching the way I walk, the way I dress, and it makes me feel good. So that's even more of a reason to just go hard with everything that we love, because although although people hate us, certain people hate us, people love us as well, so.
Definitely. I think that you all made really great points, because our experiences are our unique experiences, and we each live them through our own eyes. So I'm glad that you guys were all able to touch on that. What should the audience be looking out for next from you, and what are some of the goals you have for yourself and your brand?
I would say you guys should expect a lot of trial and error from me. That's what I would say. I want to be very authentic about it, because before I had got into even running a business, I would just shy away from a lot of opportunities that didn't seem certain, or that was just kind of hard to me from looking at it, before even trying it. Um, and this year, I believe that it was quarantine that kind of forced me to just be like, you know what, whatever. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna try it, and it's turned out well for me so far. So it doesn't turn out well every time, but just trying different things and just learning different things is something that I'm really, really looking towards. For me, just you guys can expect a lot of just me trying out new different types of posts, new different or different types of styling. A lot of different clothes will be coming to the page as well. I want to be really consistent on Depop, which is my main platform. And also, you guys should be on the lookout for another Indifference collection soon as well. It's been kind of on the back burner because I've been going so hard with vintage right now, but I don't want to keep everyone waiting. I don't want to keep myself waiting, and just kind of, push it out of the way. So I really do appreciate all the support that everyone gives me right now, because that's what keeps me going every single day. Sometimes I believe we all have our days, but when that one person gives you that little pick me up, you're just like, all right, time to get out of that stage and just let's get to work. Let's get to improvement. So, but yeah, that's what I would say.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
For me, audience can expect like a few things that are going to be put on sale. So that's like my first time sort of selling things. And that's kind of really a big deal for me, because like again, like the fear of failure, or even just the fear of success, like that's something I'm trying to overcome and grow from. But yeah, so the audience can expect someone to buy in a couple of weeks maybe.
Yes.
Well, me being in law school, a lot of times I kind of have to go back and forth between school and business. So at times my business kind of gets put on the side. And right now yesterday I just finished the semester, so I'll be on break for the next month up until January 10th. So definitely just consistency. I plan to do a lot of collaborations, man. I've been blessed to have come in contact with a lot of different brands over the past few months. So just going to be working with some different brands to try to just highlight all the people around me as well as myself. So collaborations and consistency, man. I got a lot of heat coming, a lot of heat. So
Nice. Well, that is the end of our show. I am so excited. I'm so happy that you guys joined me today. I think that you all shared some really important things. I think that anyone watching today definitely feels, especially me, super motivated to go on and take on the rest of the day, the rest of the evening in your case, Tega. But I think that yeah, I just really appreciate you guys for spending time with me. If you want to say anything really quickly before you go, this is normally the time where people give a plug. So I'm live on YouTube, and there's like a chat section. And when I used to go live, I used to allow people to ask questions. So I'm looking at the live chat now, and if anyone's watching and has a question, put it in the live chat and I'll see it and I'll ask the question. But in the meantime, while they're doing that or thinking of that, you guys can go ahead and do your little plugs real quick.
I just want to say thank you for having us, man. And I enjoy having the opportunity to talk with you two. So definitely will continue to follow y'all and y'all's path. So good luck to you guys. You too, Talia.
Thank you.
Yeah, I echo that. Yeah, this has been great. It's like my first time been on a panel, so tried to try new things and stuff. So yeah, thank you for having me, and it was a great discussion. And I'm definitely gonna keep up with what you guys are doing. So best of luck with that.
But yeah, I'd say the same thing because my first panel experience. So it's been fun. So I really appreciate you having me and just getting me to kind of step outside of my comfort zone a little bit. And it was good to meet you guys as well. Tega, hey, you guys are inspirational because you guys are hard workers. So you can make me work even harder. So yeah, I appreciate you for having me. And as far as a plug, you guys can follow me at Palmersvintage on all platforms, Instagram and Depop as well. Those are my two main platforms. And you guys can follow my personal as well at Brenton Palmer. So yeah, appreciate y'all.
Follow me at Teddyhussle. That's my personal page. My business is Throwback Closet, both on Instagram. So please come check me out and come shop.
Yeah, follow me too. Tega Akinola, my name on Instagram. Buy my stuff when it comes out, and I'll send you something.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Buy vintage, save Earth.
All right. Let's see.